Baby, I'm amazed at the way you love me all the time. Baby, I'm afraid of the way I need you. Bum 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 bum. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. When this video comes out, it will be about 4 days prior to Valentine's Day. So this is our Valentine's Day special. We are going to be reviewing what many people, and especially many people in the X-Files fandom, considers a hot Valentine's Day movie, and that is the very first X-Files movie, Fight the Future, which came out in 1998. Cheers. Today, I'm drinking black tea from my Lady and the Tramp mug. I don't know if you can see it. Fight the Future is not the quintessential Valentine's Day movie. That particular title goes to the 1952 Disney movie Lady and the Tramp, which is the most romantic movie of all time, and I'll fight any fucking person. So, yeah, Fight the Future. This is the very first X-Files movie, but it won't be the last. We'll get to I Want to Believe one of these days. My cat is chewing on my toe because she thinks she's a little chihuahua with a chew toy. Please stop doing that. So, yeah, Fight the Future came out in 1998. I was a little 13-year-old baby. I went to see it in the theaters with my best friend Jenny. It was just a whole darn thing, man. It was great. We'll talk a little bit more about that, about how it is. The X-Files is adapted into a theatrical release, but let's get right into this. This is our Valentine's Day special, but it's going to be divided into two parts because, of course, Fight the Future is a movie, not a 49-minute episode of the X-Files. Do you want to come sit in my lap? My cat Cookie's here today because Elsa's off doing Elsa business. So Cookie's here today, being my co-host. So, Fight the Future came out in 1998. It was the first theatrical adaptation of the X-Files. And it changes a lot of the elements of the show being adapted to a box office theater release. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So, yeah, let's do it. I'm so excited about this. This is going to be a two-parter. We're going to review Fight the Future Part 1, first half of the movie today. And next Thursday or next Friday, depending on how my schedule goes, we will upload Part 2, which I'm super excited to talk about. But I'm pretty excited to talk about Part 1, too. So, this is the first time I've just sat down and just critically rewatched Fight the Future. Last year, me and my family all got together. We all watched it. We all had a grand time around Valentine's Day. But it was more of a kind of watch the movie with one eye while you watch the kids run around with the other eye kind of thing. So I didn't really get to pay much attention to it. This time I really got to sit down and watch it, and I'm super duper excited. I got my heart necklace on that my daughter gave me. I got my heart clips in. I am fucking ready for this, okay? So buckle in and let's review Fight the Future Part 1. So the movie begins with the X-Files theme, and I'm going to tell you guys, you little babies, something to the younger people who are in the X-Files fandom. Going to the movie theater in 1998 when you're 13 years old and listening to the X-Files theme play in a theater full of people it's fucking brilliant, man. One of my favorite memories of all time. And when you see the 20th Century Fox at the beginning, when I rewatched it, when I streamed it, it didn't do this. So they probably took it out in the re-release. But when it does 20th Century Fox and then it fades out, the X and the Fox kind of is highlighted for a moment before it fades out to the opening credits. And that they do that in the first X-Men movie too. So that's pretty fucking cool. I love that. In the re-release, it doesn't do that, of course. And then you hear the Mark Snow X-Files theme song over the black oil, and it's fucking cool. It's really good. Good times. So you see North Texas. What is it? 6 million years ago. I like that. That's pretty cool. The X-Files does that a lot with its little taglines to show like the time and the place, and they'll say like they do it in home, and they show home plate, and they'll say home, and then they'll say Pennsylvania, and they'll pause it for comedic effect. Well, it's kind of what they do here. They say North Texas, and then they pause because of course there's snow and ice everywhere, and it says 6 million years ago. You see two early humans trotting across the snow, and I gotta say, this movie, people say MSR this, MSR that, but the two cavemen in the beginning are the true star-crossed lovers in this movie. They're following the tracks of this beast, and they track it to a cave, and this is another great time to remind the kids listening that one of the first rules of outdoor adventure is if you don't know what's inside a cave, if you're not absolutely sure, don't fucking go inside. It's a rule most characters in the X-Files ignore. So the two cavemen go inside the cave where the scary tracks are leading without getting back up or anything else. And it's an alien! A very fucking scary alien. Later on in the film, some dumbass will say, like, so much for little green men, and it's a pretty fucking bad joke. But these aliens are fucking scary. I don't really know how to describe them. They're kind of like the creatures on the movie Alien, but not quite. They're like a cross between the reticulants and the creatures from Alien. That's a good way to describe them. But they're also incredibly unique, and I really appreciate that. Like, one thing I really like to see is like different takes on extraterrestrials, not just like the little gray men with the big eyes. And this is fucking cool. And we'll learn later on that the aliens colonizing this planet in the X-Files universe kind of got a glow up, and we'll talk about that too. So my baby goat's back there going absolutely bonkers. She's already been fed. Just I'm not mean to these animals, they're just spoiled. So the cavemen go into the cave, and this scary alien attacks one and kills it. And oh man, I feel sorry for the other guy. Like, that was his husband. Fuck this. Why there has to be a star-crossed death in the first 3 minutes of this film? So, kills one caveman, but not before they find another cave person encased in ice, and the alien is either saving him for a snack or going to use him as a baby machine, which will be explained later. So then the other caveman is filled with the fury that can only possess the heart of a spurned lover, and he kills the alien. And then the black oil, which we've been introduced to two seasons ago, comes out of the alien and infects the caveman. The black oil in the X-Files moves very slowly, and this is something I've always wanted to talk about. Nobody ever runs away from it. It's just like, what is the scene from Happy Feet, and the leopard seal is chasing the penguins on the land, and they're like, hey, everybody run away in 30 minutes. So, they're shit-talking the seal. That's kind of like the black oil. Like, run away in 30 minutes. Like, it's incredibly slow. Let me just say, if I see a dead body or a extraterrestrial leaking black slugs, I'm gonna get the fuck out of Dodge. That black oil is gonna have to fucking catch me, okay? I'm gonna be goddamn Usain Bolt, alright? So, this caveman does not run away, and he's infected by the black hole, and you hear him screaming into the night. And then the next scene is present day, which is a pretty cool time lapse, and you see the kids from Stand By Me. I do these Twitter threads the day before I record to kind of get my thoughts in order, and I said on my Twitter thread for Fight the Future Part 1, I said, we interrupt this Stand By Me for a special alien announcement. Pretty heavy vibes of Stand By Me. There's some homages to other movies in this movie, so we'll get to that in a second. You see this little boy, his name's Stevie, and he's played by baby Lucas Black. If you don't know who Lucas Black is, he was the kid in Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. I don't remember that movie so much for Lucas Black as I remember it for his co-star Lil Bow Wow. I am a grade A Lil Bow Wow stan. So baby Lucas Black falls in the hole. They off this kid about a minute after you get to know him, and he is just why do they make him so endearing if they're just gonna axe him? He calls his friends ass wipes, which is just best friend behavior, and he's like, there's bones all around this cave, you can take your pick, fellas. And I'm like, oh baby Lucas Black, you are too damn pure for this world. He finds a skull of the caveman who got his head bashed in. And sure enough, the black oil is leaking out of it, and it attacks baby Lucas Black. He had a lot of time to run away from it. I not hating on the kid, I'm just saying, if you're encountered with black oil, just run. Just fucking run, okay? When you encounter black oil, it's the opposite of when you encounter a grizzly bear. Just don't play dead. Just get the fuck out of there, alright? So, Lucas Black does not run, and the black oil infects him. And the only thing I gotta say about his friends is, those hoes ain't loyal. Those hoes ain't loyal. They fucking book it. The black oil has infected baby Lucas Black. It's obviously not coming out of the hole. One of his friends couldn't have just stayed there with him until a grown-up came. I mean, seriously. Like I said, those hoes ain't loyal. They run away, and the next scene you see are some firefighters. They're going to go, get poor baby Stevie out of the hole. R.I.P. Stevie. The fire chief is played by the guy who plays the evil sheriff in the episode Our Town. And if you know anything about the X-Files, you're part of the X-Files fandom, and you've watched Fight the Future, this guy. Some actors have an illustrious filmography, and then some are known for one line, and this is the guy that's known for his one line. Take a deep breath and scream, "My man!" And that's it. That's his line. He's concerned about his men. He says, "My man!" And everyone, it's one of those scenes like the Speedo scene in Dwayne Barry, or the hallway scene in this movie where Mulder and Scully get cock-blocked by a bee. It's one of those scenes, whenever my family sees it, we all shout it. We all say, "My man!" So, my man does not get his men, because these government goons come in, led by Creepo Scientist number 1. And one thing about this movie is, maybe we should talk about this now. One thing that's discussed a lot is they wanted this movie, Chris Carter wanted this movie to like stand out and draw in a larger audience, like an audience maybe that's not familiar with the X-Files. And what they did was the opposite of that. I think if you came into this movie and you in 1998 and today, and you didn't know anything about the X-Files, I think you'd be lost. Like, there's parts of it like you have to know what happened in the show prior to this to really understand it. The movie did not succeed in that. So, however, what they did succeed in was making a pretty ballin' horror film. I wish the movie had leaned into that. Like, the horror elements in this movie are pretty damn good. You're taking a page from Ilsa's book, aren't you? Waving your ass in my face. Thanks. Thanks, really. Really fucking appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that. So, the horror elements in this movie are really, really good. There's a lot of homage to films like Contagion or 28 Days Later, especially in this scene where they're carrying the kid in this biohazard like stretcher out of the hole, and you see the fear and the shock on these people's faces, and the movie very much lets it sink in. Oh, you're much better than Elsa. Elsa's a little tool when she sits with me and like bites me. Thank you for being a good little girl. Thank you. So they carry poor baby Lucas Black out, and then they just torch the hole with the firefighter still inside, which is just, God, that's terrible. And the fire chief, like, who's screaming my men, of course, he's super messed up. This is the kind of scene, like, I wish the movie had leaned into, like, leaning into those horrific elements. It's done really fucking well. So then, government goon scientist is on the phone, and he says to someone, he's like, you know that thing we never planned for? Well, we need to come up with a plan. And I said, boy, oh boy, that's, isn't that ever the government's response to a crisis, right? Hurricane Katrina, the pandemic, just pick one, pick whatever crisis. They're like, fuck if we care what happens to these citizens. Plan, what's that? You know, especially as far as the pandemic went. Non-existent plan was more like it. So, the next scene is Dallas, and there's a federal building, and you see creepy mustache man. You see creepy mustache man from the episode Aubrey. And later on in the series, he'll play a guy that slut-shames Scully. So, fuck that guy. But this is the same actor, and I think at first I didn't like him because he'd played these other very unsavory roles. But in this, I really feel sorry for this guy. Like, God, fuck me, he has a sad story. So he's gazing off. He's on the roof of this federal building, and he's gazing off to the roof of another building. And sure enough, we see our baby Dana Catherine Scully. No, God, I'm gonna say that, you know what, I'll talk about it in a minute. We'll get there in a minute. So Scully's on the roof, she's on the phone with Mulder, and she's telling him, I'm hot, I'm thirsty, and I don't know what I'm doing here. And I said, oh boy, does that, is that ever a great summary of Dana Scully's adult life, huh? She's hot as hell, she's thirsty as hell for any kind of physical contact, and she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing with her life. So that's a wonderful summary of her life. Oh my gosh, somebody's hauling a new tractor to the neighbors. That's pretty cool. So while Dana Scully has an existential crisis, Mulder comes around a corner and jump scares her. Fuck him. He gives this long speech to Scully, and I don't remember a word of it because Mulder's speeches are fucking boring. Anyway, and then he turns around and he says, what are we doing here, Scully? And he starts whining in the same way he just accused her of whining. Scully tells him the X-Files are closed down, we have to follow protocol now. But the way she delivers it, it sounds like foreplay. Mulder and Scully are like smirking at each other and like giggling as they say these, as they banter back and forth, and I'm like, yeah, that's foreplay, man. Oh god, my wrist is hurting. So, so David Duchovny, and this is just my personal opinion. 1998 David Duchovny was hot if he could make a little 13-year-old girl who was positively allergic to all things man or boy admit that he was kind of cute in 1998. I mean, 1998 David Duchovny, he had it going on. I think that's the peak of his hotness. Some people say it's season 1 Mulder, some people say it's season 6 Mulder, some people say it's revival Mulder, but this is the hottest he's gonna get. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. Scully, Gillian Anderson is hot in any era she occurs in, and God, she's a godlike being, like walking the face of the earth. But I gotta say, Fight the Future Dana Scully is something fucking else. I think it's her tailored wardrobe. My cat is like shaking this chair where my tea and water are. I think it's her like tailored wardrobe that has a lot to do with it. And I'm not hating on her past looks, the pantsuits and her very quirky taste and like casual wear. Like, yeah, that's Scully core. That's part of her whole character. But damn, seeing her in these tailored outfits is like, it fucking hits, man. It's hot. No one, and I mean no one, has a right to look this hot in a family motion picture. So they go inside this federal building. They go past these school kids, and it's really cute to see like the child actors like crane their necks around. They're like, oh my god, there's Jillian and David, and they're so excited to be like breathing their air. I mean, that's what I would do when I was a little baby. So these motherfuckers are looking for a goddamn bomb in a federal building, and they can't cool it with the foreplay for like 2 seconds. Mulder's gonna buy Scully a soda, and he's like, what do you need? Like a Pepsi, a saline IV? And she's like, I just want something sweet. And oh my god, like the way Scully and Mulder are interacting, there's a lot of people in the fandom who debate and argue about when and where and how Mulder and Scully first fucked. And I personally don't care when or how or why they did. I just know that they did. And I used to be that person who, just my personal opinion, like, yeah, they banged after Millennium when they had their New Year's kiss. But rewatching Fight the Future, I'm really starting to wonder if there was some sex going on between Mulder and Scully. I mean, just this scene where they're like, Mulder goes to get Scully a soda, which is, it's pretty fucking sweet. And disclaimer, okay, I might as well just say it now. I am going to be slaughtering some holy cows in this Fight the Future review. So just buckle up. But when Mulder is sweet and he has sweet moments, I will give him credit where credit's due. And this is a very sweet moment. He goes to buy Scully a soda, and he gets locked in the vending machine room. And as you find out, there's a bomb in the vending machine. So he tells Scully, he's like, I'm locked in here. And she's like, oh, haha, very funny. And the way they're going back and forth is like they've role played this before. Like in the bedroom where Mulder's like, okay, I'm stuck in a snack room with a rigged vending machine, and she's like, I have to save you. It's like it's giving off that energy, okay? So and yeah, I'm like, the energy they're having is like, I can see it, like that they were fucking at this point. Like, God, they're certainly eye fucking. So that's right, excuse me. Fox Mulder just dicked his way into finding this bomb. He just happened to go in a vending machine he happened to go in a room with a vending machine that had the rigged bomb on it. Again, a beautiful example of the writers just giving Mulder the fucking answers. Like, he just dicks his way in here and finds the bomb. Scully is like, oh shit, he's not doing role play. This is the real deal. She runs down to like the foyer of this federal building, and she points her gun at the people behind the desk, and she says, "Don't think." She's like, call for help. She's like, "Don't think. Just pick up the phone and make it happen." And Jillian shouts it in a way where I really want her to shout at me. That's my kink. That's my kink. I want Gillian Anderson to shout at me. She says this, and I said on the Twitter thread, when she shouts it, crops are watered and children are conceived. Peace between long warring countries is achieved. Like, we just need Scully to scream at us some more. So again, another great X-Files trope. Everyone drops everything they're doing and say like, "Oh, this tiny woman, we got to do what she says." So they do. They come and like cut down the door, and get Mulder out. And a creepy mustache man from the episode Aubrey comes in, and he's like, "Hey, get the hell out of here." Scully's like, "Can you defuse this bomb?" And the guy doesn't really give her an answer. I feel so sorry for this man. As the bomb goes off, he just sits in there and dies, with it. And what is the reason? Like, if he's part of the government cover-up, which we're led to believe he is, why does he have to die with the bomb? Like, I don't understand that. Like, obviously he's sworn to secrecy, to the shadow government. Like, why does he have to die with the bomb? It's just super depressing, and it makes no fucking sense. But then you have to remember who this was written by. It was written by Chris Carter, and you know what a brilliant writer Chris Carter is. So then Mulder and Scully get out, but Mulder's spider sense is tingling, and he's gonna run back in the building when there's like 3 seconds on the clock. Scully hauls his ass down into a car, and they're getting away, and there's a giant explosion, and the building collapses. So, it's really easy to forget watching the X-Files during this time period. Rewatching the X-Files that was set in this time period, during its heyday of the mid to late 90s. Like, it's easy to forget that this was pre 9/11. Like, especially with something like in the making of the movie, like they actually blew up a building, or what looks exactly like a building. Like, that was actually done. That was all practical effects. Today, I don't believe you could do that. Like, you couldn't do something that would really lead to that sensitive of a topic. I'm thinking of the movies that came out like directly after 9/11. Like, Spider-Man's a big example where they edited out the shots of the Twin Towers. And in Lilo and Stitch, hey, another alien movie. Arguably a much better one than this. Nobody wants to talk about that. There was a scene where this huge alien spacecraft is like knocking down skyscrapers, and that was taken out as well, of Lilo and Stitch. And I think even today, like, people really step back and, like, say, should we include this in media? Because, really, like, everything changed after 9/11, not just in media, but every fucking thing. So, like, I don't think that shot could be done as it was today. And then Mulder, after the explosion, they're like coming out of the rubble and looking at this terrifying sight that killed at least one person. We don't know if it killed more. And Mulder looks at Scully and he's like, next time you're buying. And I'm like, Fox Mulder, people fucking died. Man, show a shred of empathy, all right, dude? So, fuck him. God. But Mulder's the most empathetic person, right? Don't forget that, right? So then, you see, fucking Smoking Man. And, every time I rewatch Fight the Future, I kind of forget Smoking Man's in it, and I'm glad I do. And it's always an unpleasant surprise when I see that motherfucker. God, you could have had Krychek in this movie. You could have, but you didn't. You could have had Marita Covarrubias. She's a sketchy bitch. But nope, you had to have fucking CSM. Fuck me. Anyway, he's looking at these firefighters who are at this scene in Dallas that went to rescue the little boy. And there's a baby alien in their tummy. That's right. The aliens are somehow implanting their young inside of humans. And the humans are baby machines. And the baby aliens hatch. They kill and eat their human host, if indeed they're still alive. And then it's a real glow up for the aliens. The gray reticulates, like, I guess when they infected these people with the black oil, which causes them to incubate this alien, this really cool alien, predator-looking alien comes out. It's a big glow up for the reticulates. Is this why they're doing it? I don't know. And of course, what I put on Twitter. Yes, back when the X-Files mythology did not completely and utterly suck. Like, this was back when it was still really intriguing and interesting, and, like, you wanted to see what happened until you got to, like, season 8, and it was a fuck storm. It's too convoluted, you couldn't even follow it. So, it's the sketchy scientist guy from the scene with the little boys. He says, hey, should I destroy this? And Smoky Man's like, oh, no, let the baby alien hatch. And I'm like, why? Like, that thing's gonna kill literally everyone, Smoky Man, but whatever. Smoky Man's not the smartest villain, Someone once said, I can't remember who said it. It was on one of the X-Files podcasts. They said Smoky Man is trying to be like Scar from The Lion King, and he just ends up being like Ed, the hyena from The Lion King. Like, that's where he lands. So then you see Scully. She's got to go to another hearing in front of these FBI agents. And Mulder shows up late. Fuck you, Mulder. You can't even show up on time, man. And the lady who's questioning Scully is Blythe Danner. She was in a lot of movies. I'm thinking of the movie Little Fockers. Love that movie. And I say this in the most respectful way, but Blythe Danner is mommy. And she's a smoking lady. That's all I'm going to say. She's a smoke show. So she's talking to another smoke show, Dana Scully. And Then Mulder's out in the hallway. Scully goes out there to talk to him. And she says, he's like, well, what did you tell him and all this? And Scully's like, I'm thinking about quitting, the Bureau. She's like, this just doesn't hold interest for me. I feel like I can't make a difference, if they reassign me to Omaha or whatever, wherever the hell. And then Mulder is just an asshole. And I'll talk about this more. But he's like, no, Scully, this isn't about you. This is about me. And I'm like, bro, this is her life. She's unhappy here. She wants to change. Like, that's her decision. And he's like, no, it's not about you, Scully. It's all about me. And I'm like, fuck you, Fox Mulder. Okay, so let's just talk about it. People, and especially people in the fandom, remember this movie for its sweet moments. Them bantering on the roof of the federal building, the hallway scene where they're cock-blocked by a bee, the scene in Antarctica where Mulder and Scully save each other's lives. Like, that's what people remember from this movie. People inside and outside of the fandom. However, what they forget is what a giant tool Mulder is to Scully outside of the 3 moments he's not. That's a very good litmus for Fox Mulder's character. Like, he's wonderful at the grand gestures, at these dramatic grand gestures of affection for Scully, but in everything else, he is a shitty FBI partner, lover, and just a shitty friend. Like, when I went into this rewatch, I was like, yeah, Mulder's going to be really sweet in this, and, like, I'm going to really enjoy watching him. And, like, no. Like, I would say Mulder is worse in this movie than he is in, like, season 6, where I want to push him in a trash can. Like, he's extremely manipulative of Scully, and we'll talk more about it in the hallway scene. And I just want to say, MSR shippers, I love you, but I am gonna slaughter that holy cow in the next review when we get to the hallway scene. Because here, the hallway scene out of context is really sweet. Yeah, it's a great Valentine's moment. Like, it's this profession of love from this man to this woman, and it's amazing and wonderful. In context of the movie and in the show itself, it's terribly manipulative. Like, in this moment, when they've been before this panel of FBI agents, like, Mulder tells Scully, like, it's not about you, it's all about me. Like, he literally says that. And then what is it, like, a half hour later in the hallway, he's like, no, Scully, like, you make me a whole person, and, like, you did all this for me. Like, because the only time Mulder values Scully is when A, she's on death's door, or B, she's gonna leave his ass. And then he'll do these things to get her back. Like, Mulder's not abusive to Scully, but he's manipulative as fuck. And I can't watch the hallway scene and squee over it like I did when I was 13, because I see that. Okay? And we'll talk more about it in a minute. I have so much to say about it. Okay. So, Skinner comes up. Oh, I'm so glad Skinner's here. When I saw him walk onto the screen, I was just like, yes, there's my dad. There he is. He sits down. He has his heart-to-heart with Mulder. He's very, very dad. Skinner is always dad to Mulder and Scully, but something about Fight the Future Skinner, he is 100% dad in this movie, and we'll get to it when we get to the part 2. Scully hands Mulder his jacket, and she whispers, I'm sorry. And it's like Bart Simpson getting his heart ripped out and thrown across the room. That's how I feel for Dana Scully. So Mulder goes off and gets drunk, and that's the theme of, I mean, that's the title for this review. Fox Mulder gets drunk and fist fights the future. Mulder's gonna fist fight that future, alright? So, he goes to this bar, he drinks 3 drinks and is just shit-faced, and I say, yay, Fox Mulder's alcohol tolerance is the same as mine. So, that's one thing, that's one of a couple things we have in common. So, Mulder, the bartender makes the mistake of asking him what he does. And she gets that look on her face of people that ask someone like, hey, how are you doing today? And they proceed to tell you their life story. And I don't know where you grew up, but in the South, especially when you're a girl and you're like raised to be a lady, you just have to sit there and listen to it, okay? And smile and try to be understanding. That was how I was raised. Like, especially if it's an elder talking to you, you're like, you're gonna have to sit and listen about their bunions for a while. You got yourself into this when you asked the question, okay? That's the look the bartender has. So then she says, hey, spooky boy, 86 is your lucky number. And he's like, 1 is the loneliest number. Uh-oh. Emo Mulder alert. So this is a good time for me to say that I own the album, Fight the Future. And it's pretty ballin'. It has covers of songs by Filter, Ween, Weezer, Sting, the Gallagher brothers. I mean, it's pretty fucking cool. And on this CD, Filter covers 1 is the Loneliest Number by Three Dog Night. And Three Dog Night is kind of known as this really kind of lighthearted 70s band, but they were out there writing some pretty goth songs, man. Like, that's what's so cool about the music of the 70s and the early 80s, especially like the folk rock scene. And that was the music I was raised on when I was very little. Like Fleetwood Mac and Three Dog Night and Blue Oyster Cult. It seems very lighthearted, and it's just the most goth content you'll ever encounter in music. So the Mulder goes to take a piss. He goes into the bathroom and accidentally breaks in on these women. And I put on my Twitter thread, the rewatch thread, I said, I wonder how many women want 1998 Fox Mulder to accidentally break into their bathroom. My guess is a few. So he goes out back and he pees on an Independence Day movie poster. And when I was 13, I thought that was the funniest shit I'd ever seen. And then he sees Martin Landau peeking from behind an alleyway corner. And his name is Kurtzfeld. The character's name is Kurtzfeld. And he's trying to be really mysterious and spooky. And he comes off as a goddamn creep. He looks like he wants to abduct Mulder in a white van. I expect him to pull out some candy and say, like, come to the van. There's aliens in there. Like, what? He tells Mulder, he's like, I knew your father. If some sketch man, like, watches me pee in an alleyway and then tells me I knew your father, that's a red flag. You need to get the fuck out of there, man. Because this guy is a molester, okay? But Mulder doesn't, and he gets in a cab, and this is a pretty cute scene that's also incredibly sad. He's shit-faced drunk, and he's like, take me to Arlington, which is home. And then he tells the cab driver, he's like, no, take me to Georgetown. Take me to Georgetown. That's where baby girl is. So Scully's tossing and turning at 3 a.m. Boy, once again, the story of her life. people ask me a lot, like, what episode should I watch of the X-Files to, like, get me hooked? And I would say watch Fight the Future. It's a pretty good litmus test for if you'll like the rest of the series. I think that's pretty good. Like, that's a pretty good litmus test. It's definitely a dead ringer for for Mulder and Scully and their characters. So Scully's tossing and turning at 3:00. She goes, when most women hear banging on their front door at 3 a.m., they're petrified, but not Dana Scully. She knows who it is. She knows who's interrupting her good night's sleep, and his name is Fox William Mulder, the man who will eventually give her a baby. She goes to the door, and some people come to their ex's door in the wee hours of the morning to petition sex when they're drunk. Other people come to their ex's door at 3:00 in the morning when they're drunk to ask them to investigate alien conspiracies. So whatever floats your fucking boat, right? So, and it's so coded that, like, Mulder's like, take me back, baby, please. Like, he's like, get dressed, baby, please, get dressed. Like what? And still after this, Chris Carter would be like, they're platonic, SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, so, of course Scully goes. I'll talk about this. I have so much to say about this in a minute. I don't want to rush it, though. They go for a drive to this naval hospital in Bethesda? I think that's how you pronounce it, Maryland. And they want to go down to the morgue. And boy, oh boy, again, the writer's giving Mulder all the goddamn answers. The kid who's guarding the morgue, the soldier, like, Mulder bluffs him, and boy, was Mulder lucky he got the most wet behind the ears guard to bluff, right? Or he would be dead. Him and Scully would have been shot on sight. Like, again, the writer's giving Mulder all the goddamn answers. So they go down to the morgue, and Mulder just leaves Scully there to do the autopsy. When the general finds out and sends troops down there to find her, she has to hide among the dead. And Mulder calls her while she's hiding, and she's like, Mulder, I can't talk right now. I might be shot on sight. This is a life or death situation. And Mulder literally says, okay, LOL. Well, I'll meet you in Dallas, I guess. He doesn't check up on her. He doesn't say, like, oh no, this woman who I love is in danger. I need to go help her. No, he's just like, okay, well, I guess I'll go to Dallas and see you there, babe. Fuck Mulder. Mulder, I don't like Mulder anyway. In this movie, his dickishness is up to 13. I mean, it's bad, okay? And the fandom, like, sees him talk sweet to Scully one time in one scene, and they're just like, Mulder's the best. Like, he's immediately forgiven, right? So, she meets him in Dallas. I want her to walk up to him and, like, punch him in the nose and say, like, thanks, dickbag, for, like, leaving me there. These people almost fucking shot me. So, Scully discovers, she does the autopsy. What a fucking champ. And, she sees, that the corpses are breaking down at this abnormal rate and having a little baby alien inside the tummy. So she tells Mulder this. They're at the Dallas federal office, and they're looking at evidence from the explosion. They see, like, this fossil they found there, and Scully's like, yeah, this is extraterrestrial in nature, bro. Then you see this scientist. He was the guy that went out when the little boy fell in the hole. He was the one that burned the poor firefighters. And he goes down in the hole where the little Stevie fell in, and he finds one of the firefighters with a hole in his chest. The baby alien popped out. And then he sees the alien watching him. This is really good. The practical effects on the alien and just how it moves. Like, it's like Predator. It's like moving and you can't track it with your eye. It's like that. It's really fucking good. It's really fucking scary. Anyway, the alien celebrates his birthday by having a nice little birthday snack of the scientist, and I don't feel sorry for this guy. He's a grade A tool. And his colleagues bury him alive with the alien. And that is some scary shit. Again, like, I wish this movie had, like, leaned into the horror elements of, like, 28 Days Later or Contagion. It's really good. It's really fucking good. So then you see well-manicured man, aka the old wanker, as me and my family call him. This actor, he played in a lot of things. He played in Winds of War. That's what I knew him from before I started watching The X-Files. And yeah, he's an amazing actor. So good. He is watching his grandchildren play in the garden. And then I really want to tell his wife is out there, like, romping around with the kids. And I want to tell her, like, this dick cheated on you with the horse racing lady in season 4. Like, you need to leave his ass. So he gets a call from the Syndicate. Of course, he's part of the Syndicate. He's the leader of the Syndicate, question mark. And then you see his grandson fall down and, like, break his leg. So this is a really good example of, like, these incredibly evil men in the world that hurt just hundreds, if not thousands of people, directly or indirectly. And then people say, like, oh, but they were a great family man and they really cared about, you know, their kids or their grandkids. And I'm like, that doesn't excuse them from being a monster. You know, like, I hear that a lot. That shouldn't be an argument. I mean, like, just because you're a good dad or a good grandpa doesn't excuse the terrible things that you do, okay? Like, and that's a good example of that. So he goes off to London to meet with these crusty old white biddies of the Syndicate. Again, like, if you came into Fight the Future blind, like, you've never seen the X-Files, you don't know anything about it, like, you're gonna say, who the fuck are these guys? There's also a guy from Tunisia, and the movie kind of, like, expects us to know about him, like, even people from the fandom, and I'm like, the Patrick Star coming home and seeing all the people under his rock, he's like, who are you people? I don't fucking know you. Again, this would have been a great time for, like, Krychek to come slithering into the Syndicate and start flinging some shit around. Like, god damn, why couldn't Nicholas Lay be in this movie instead of fucking Smoking Man? So, well-manicured man, the old wanker, he tells them, like, they're like, hey, these aliens are, like, putting their babies in humans, and of course, the Syndicate is in on it with the aliens, and they're going to live like kings when the aliens take over the planet, because they're pieces of shit. And they're like, this wasn't part of the plan. Like, they didn't tell us anything about getting glow-ups from being in their, they're taking a spa, taking their human body spas. They never said this to us. And the old wanker, well-manicured man is like, yeah, they fucking lied to us. Like, he's so livid over it. Like, the Syndicate talks like 12-year-old girls, pretty much. So, like, middle school girls. He's like, they didn't tell us anything about this. And he's like, we need to, like, use this vaccine. Again, you'd have to know about that by watching season 5. Chris Carter, who wants to make this movie for everybody. And they're like, no, we need to go along with the aliens, you know, do what they want, and they might spare us. And I'm like, yeah, how's that going? How's that working out for you guys? The Syndicate, when they get burned to death in season 6, spoilers, I don't feel sorry for these fuckers. Just, I'd be pouring, gasoline on that fire. Okay, I don't feel sorry for these motherfuckers. So, the old wanker looks shifty, and he's gonna go behind the Syndicate's back and talk to Mulder. They also say Mulder believes Kurtzfield, Martin Landau, creepy man, who's creeping on Mulder, and they say if you kill Mulder, and they've said this before in the show, which is just so cute, and they say if you kill Mulder, you will risk turning one man's quest into a crusade. And I'm like, really? Will you really? Fox William Mulder, Spooky Mulder, the laughing stock of the FBI. You're telling me people are gonna drop fucking everything and turn his quest into a crusade? I mean, Scully might. Like, and you see some of that in season 8. After Mulder is abducted, but Scully is very much on her own, especially in the beginning, until Doggett, and Reyes join her. That's 3 people, but it's not a fucking crusade. It never becomes a crusade. It's so cute how the show is like, oh, his work will become a crusade. We can't kill Mulder. And I'm like, really, will it? So, the show definitely wants Mulder to be more popular than he is, which he's absolutely not. Also, the other FBI agents besides Scully fucking hate Mulder, okay? They would be happy for him to go, alright? They hate this guy. So, Mulder and Scully are back in North Texas. I also like how they say, let's take away the thing that is most important to him, and then immediately the shot goes to Scully. But, Chris Carter said, they're platonic, they're not lovers. So, the shot goes to Scully, and they meet the kids from Stand By Me with new bikes, Again, great callbacks to Stand By Me and the movie It. I think there's some really great callbacks to that. The kids drag Mulder and say he looks like a door-to-door salesman. I said on my Twitter thread, he cried into his pillow that night over that kid calling him a door-to-door salesman. Scully says, they're like, we're not going to tell you where these government spooks went. And Scully does this little cute thing. She's like, you better tell us. And it's so cute. It's like, if Mulder and Scully got to raise their son, like, that would be the tone Scully would take with William if he was in trouble. She's like, you better tell me. You better fucking tell me. Like, so cute. This is Jillian, throwing in these little playful moments into Scully's character. They all point in the direction these tanker trucks went, with these people investigating where little Stevie disappeared. They all point at the same time, and I get it. It's like a great dramatic scene, but why do they all point at the same time? And one of you could have pointed it out. So then, Mulder and Scully, go in the direction the kids tell them. They drive into the desert, and Scully has another goddamn identity crisis. They get to a crossroads. They can go right or left. Mulder's like, I want to go left. Scully's like, I want to go right. And Mulder goes straight ahead. And as he's driving off-road in their rental car, Scully is really wishing she took that reassignment in Omaha. That's all I'm going to say. She's like, corn huskers forever. So, this is, I'm thinking about my friend Taylor, who lives in Nebraska, and I want to go to Nebraska. That's one of my dreams. I hear there's a lot of corn out there. I want to go to Nebraska. I hear it's beautiful. So, Scully wishes in this moment she went to Nebraska too. So, she's driving in the car. She's riding in the car with this fucking maniac, and, Mulder's like, 5 years together, Scully. When have I been wrong? And at this point, I started naming off all the times. I was like, you've been wrong about 98% of the time, Mulder. There was the time you were wrong about Deep Throat. There was the time you were wrong about the creepy little twin girls in Eve. There was the time you were wrong about the Foxfire spirits in Our Town. Diana fucking Fowley, you were really wrong about her. Do you want me to go on, Fox Mulder? I'll keep going. So... the dirt road they're on finally ends, and they get out of the car. And again, like, Scully's telling Mulder, like, I have a hearing in 11 hours that's going to determine not only my career, but possibly my freedom and my life. And she's really fucking messed up about it. Like, she's like, and again, like, her reputation is ruined. Like, even if Scully wanted to be a practicing doctor, like, who would take her? Who would go to her? Like, her reputation is so in shambles. And Mulder does not fucking care about her. He's just like, okay. He's like, huh? What? What'd you say? Like, okay, so these people, this is an hour. This is going to be as long as my Anasazi, one. The people in the fandom and out in the fandom are like, Mulder and Scully are the blueprint for romance. Like, that's the relationship I want. And I'm always like, do you really now? People, I was having this discussion a couple weeks ago, and people were like, in defense of MSR, they were saying, like, every relationship has flaws and things we need to work on. And I was like, yes, that is absolutely true. But there is a difference between having a healthy relationship with flaws and things that both people can work at to make the other person's life happier and more fulfilling. And then there are fucking toxic and unhealthy relationships. And Mulder and Scully, and I'm going to say this very clearly, have a fucking unhealthy and toxic relationship. Because Mulder keeps taking from Scully and she keeps giving to him, and Mulder does not give anything to Scully and keeps taking from her and is not considerate of her feelings, or her life, except when she's on death's door or she's gonna fucking leave his ass, and that's the only fucking time. So don't come at me with saying, like, oh, their romance is the blueprint. I want a relationship like this. If you want a relationship and you want examples in media of a healthy relationship that, yes, has flaws and can use work because they are good, well-rounded characters in the relationship, I'm going to leave a link in the description of relationships I think are healthy and good. I'll name some off the top of my head. O'Malley and Duchess from the Aristocats. Bob and Linda Belcher from Bob's Burgers. Joyce and Hopper from Stranger Things. Like, these are examples of good and healthy relationships. Ruby and Sapphire from Steven Universe. And yes, they're flawed characters and their relationships need work, but they're healthy. Both people in the relationship are considerate of the other, and they're both giving and taking in this relationship. In Mulder and Scully's relationship, Mulder keeps taking and taking and taking and taking until Scully has nothing else to fucking give. Another thing, I had this discussion a few weeks ago, is they're like, well, Scully followed him. Yes, she did, but it does not excuse Mulder taking her for granted and being so inconsiderate of her when she is only considerate of him. It still doesn't make their relationship healthy or good. And that's all I have to say about fucking that. This is supposed to be a Valentine special. It's like a Christmas Carol. It's supposed to be a Christmas special, and it just ends up making me lividly angry. So, they go into a cornfield. And I think after the hallway scene, this is the most celebrated scene in the movie. And they see cornfield boobies. That's right. They see these two structures, and they look just like giant white tits. All right? Scully looks at Mulder, and she's like, what do you think they could be? And then little 13-year-old me was in the theater with Jenny, my best friend. I was like, they're titties! And it's got to be like a kid thing, because I watched this with my daughter, and Scully said, what do you think they are? And she's like, they're boobs, girlfriend. So Mulder and Scully go walk through a corn maze to see the cornfield titties. And that's where we're going to stop part 1 of this review. And next Thursday, we will talk about Fight the Future Part 2, which I have a fuck ton to say about. This was fun. We got through Part 1. I'm so proud of us. Follow me on Twitter. I am at raccoons_dead. Follow me on Tumblr. I am at Just Awful X-Men Art. I am on Instagram at Dead Raccoons Draws It. Or follow me here on YouTube. Follow me on DeviantArt. I am at Dead Raccoons on DeviantArt. I will see you next week. Me and my beautiful spouse and my beautiful daughter are off to Comic-Con, the biggest anime, comic, TV con, movie con in the South, in Alabama. It's in Birmingham. We've never gone. We really want to go. And I am going to be dressing up as a certain Miss Dana Scully, and I will post pics of that. We'll also be having a very special X-Files Q&A with my two favorite people, my spouse William and my daughter Rebecca. So I will see you in Birmingham. Mwah! Happy Valentine's Day. I love you.